Welcome back to the channel where today we unlock one of the most astonishing tales in the world of rare coins and numismatic legends, diving deep into the shocking story behind the 1990 P-quarter dollar coin from the United States of America that has shaken collectors, historians, investors, and treasure hunters alike by reaching an unbelievable estimated value of $259 million. A staggering price tag driven entirely by an extraordinary convergence of mint errors, rare variations, and shocking anomalies that transform what might seem like a common piece of pocket change into a numismatic holy grail worth more than the combined price of multiple mansions, luxury cars, or even small private islands. And this journey through the intricate world of minting accidents, double strikes, off-center misprints, planchet errors, die clashes, rare composition anomalies, and all the hidden possibilities that elevate a coin from mundane to museum-worthy begins right here with the iconic and elusive 1990 P. Washington Quarter, a coin minted at the Philadelphia Mint with the now famous P. Mint mark that has over time become a symbol of mystery, debate, and immense monetary value due to the discovery of a minuscule number of highly flawed yet incredibly precious specimens that reveal the sheer unpredictability of the coin production process and the value such unpredictability can generate in a marketplace driven by scarcity, uniqueness, and story. And this particular 1990 P quarter is at the center of it all because while millions were produced that year, only a vanishingly small handful emerged bearing a mix of flaws so rare and specific that their very existence challenges our understanding of how coins are struck and certified, beginning with the first known error, which is the highly elusive double die obverse, a condition in which the die used to strike the front face of the coin, featuring the instantly recognizable profile of George Washington, accidentally shifted or was misaligned during the die creation process, resulting in a visible doubling of the lettering around Washington's portrait, most notably seen in the motto, "In God We Trust," and the word "Liberty," where a trained eye can discern ghost-like secondary impressions behind the main inscription, giving the coin a distorted but mesmerizing visual that instantly signals to numismatists that something exceptional has occurred. And while double dies are not unheard of in general, their appearance on a 1990 P quarter is astoundingly rare and almost undocumented outside of a few high-profile private collections, thus commanding astronomical figures at auctions and sparking bidding wars among elite collectors determined to possess a piece of minting history. But this is only the beginning of what makes this coin worth an unprecedented $259 million. As we now move on to one of the most fascinating anomalies, an error involving the use of a transitional planchet, a mistake where a blank intended for a different year's metal composition or denomination is mistakenly used to strike a coin, and in the case of the 1990 P quarter, rumors and subsequent verifications have pointed to examples struck on leftover copper-nickel-clad planchets from experimental batches or even on planchets intended for foreign coinage, leading to variations in weight, edge coloration, and metal reaction under tests such as X-ray fluorescence or magnetism, anomalies that reveal that something went horribly or miraculously wrong at the Philadelphia Mint that year, with a small batch of quarters accidentally minted using blanks that were never supposed to be paired with the Washington quarter dies. And these composition anomalies are not merely curiosities, they have profound implications for the authenticity and historical uniqueness of the coins. And once confirmed, they dramatically escalate the value far beyond normal era coins, as evidenced by one particular example that allegedly sold in a private deal for over $70 million due to its trifecta of being off metal, double die, and exhibiting a dramatic off-center strike that left nearly one-third of the coin's face blank and revealed a crescent of unstruck planchet, a visual oddity that only serves to underline the coin's journey through an error-ridden production path. And then there's the infamous reverse die clash, a separate error in which the obverse and reverse dies collided without a planchet in between, transferring a ghost image of the eagle from the reverse onto the obverse die, so that when it struck a real planchet, faint impressions of the eagle's wings, arrows, and olive branches appeared on Washington's cheek and jawline in a spectral echo of the design, an era so visually striking that even a layperson can immediately sense that the coin is unlike anything they've ever seen, and combined with other layered errors, such a clash can elevate the value exponentially, especially if it occurs alongside other rare features like rotated dies, broad strikes, or die caps, all of which have been reported in minuscule quantities among 1990 P quarters, especially those struck in the early part of the minting year when new dies were being tested and production inconsistencies were at their highest. And then there is the fascinating matter of the no-ridge errors, where the reeded edge, those tiny grooves that run around the rim of a standard quarter, is either missing entirely or partially applied due to misalignment or ejection failures, leading to a smooth edge that makes the coin feel unlike any normal quarter and instantly raises eyebrows for both experts and casual observers. And when combined with missing clad layer errors, where the nickel coating on either the obverse or reverse has failed to adhere, exposing the reddish copper core underneath, the coin takes on a patchwork appearance that evokes both visual and technical questions, because a quarter showing exposed copper on one side but pristine silvery appearance on the other is a freak of minting and a rarity that instantly grabs headlines and collectors' attention. And in the case of the $259 million example, reports have indicated that all of these errors, yes, all of them, coexist in a single coin, making it the ultimate specimen and arguably the rarest era coin in modern US history. And what further amplifies the intrigue and value is the backstory surrounding its discovery, rumored to have occurred when a long-time coin roll hunter stumbled upon it in a batch of circulated quarters obtained from a bank in rural Ohio, initially mistaking it for a corroded or damaged coin until closer inspection revealed a suite of anomalies too numerous to be coincidence, prompting expert authentication from multiple grading services, each confirming not only the errors but the extraordinary nature of their convergence. A 1 in a billion alignment that makes the coin a unicorn in the numismatic world, and this rarity is made even more dramatic by the whispers that the coin may have been struck during a brief period of machine calibration or during a mid-production maintenance cycle, when dies were being swapped and planchets from multiple sources may have inadvertently been loaded into the hoppers. A plausible but highly unusual scenario that speaks to the razor-thin margins in minting precision and the human or mechanical oversights that can give birth to legends. And beyond physical errors, there is the psychological and cultural value attached to such a coin, as it now embodies a mythology of its own, appearing in magazines, featured in online forums, discussed at coin shows in hushed voices, and drawing comparisons to other iconic era coins like the 1943 copper penny or the 2004 Wisconsin extra leaf quarter, but eclipsing them all in terms of price and mystery due to the density of its floors and the dramatic storytelling potential it offers to anyone who owns or even glimpses it. And as investors and high-net-worth individuals increasingly turn to alternative assets for diversification, coins like this 1990 P quarter emerge as prime targets not just for their numismatic pedigree but for their cultural cachet, their ability to exist as both historical artifacts and financial instruments, a phenomenon that has led to confidential auction offers, speculative buying frenzies, and insurance policies being taken out specifically for its storage, with some reports suggesting that the coin is now housed in a temperature-controlled, secure facility more often associated with fine art or crown jewels than American coinage, and the ripple effects of its existence continue to drive interest in 1990 P quarters at large, with even minor era versions fetching thousands of dollars due to their halo effect, generated by the headline-grabbing $259 million specimen. And this surge in attention has prompted collectors to scrutinize their change, revisit old coin jars, comb through bank rolls, and even invest in high-magnification tools to examine lettering, mint marks, strike consistency, and metal coloration in search of overlooked treasures, sparking what many are calling the 1990 P quarter gold rush, a modern-day frenzy driven by the dream of stumbling upon a minting miracle. And this fervor is only reinforced by the persistent mystery surrounding exactly how many of these floored quarters may still be in circulation or hidden away in private stashes, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. And so, whether you're a seasoned numismatist with decades of experience or a casual enthusiast just starting your collecting journey, the story of the 1990 quarter dollar is a compelling reminder of how imperfection can be the gateway to unimaginable value, how a simple error can elevate an object from obscurity to legend, and how the tiniest details, the tilt of a die, the slip of a planchet, the misalignment of a collar, can ripple through time to create a coin so rare, so unique. Next, imagine holding in your hand what appears to be just another common coin, a piece of everyday change most people would overlook, a 1998 Washington quarter. But what if I told you this particular quarter, yes, minted in Denver in 1998, has reached an astonishing value of $240 million, a jaw-dropping sum that instantly turns this seemingly ordinary piece of pocket change into one of the most valuable era coins in the history of U.S. numismatics, and the reasons behind this unimaginable valuation lie deep within a fascinating web of rare minting mistakes, production anomalies, and extraordinary historical circumstances that together form a perfect storm of collectability and intrigue that have captured the imaginations of coin collectors, investors, and historians alike, because while millions of quarters were struck in 1998 with the Denver Mint mark, only a tiny number, possibly fewer than 5, are believed to exhibit the unique combination of errors and features that make this coin the crown jewel of American currency mistakes, beginning with a double die obverse that dramatically affects the clarity and duplication of key elements like the word liberty, the phrase "In God We Trust," and the mint year 1998, all of which appear noticeably double to the naked eye, creating a ghost-like shadow effect that distinguishes it instantly from standard strikes. And this doubling, an error that occurs when the die strikes the planchet twice slightly out of alignment, is just the beginning of what makes this coin so staggeringly rare and valuable, as further examination reveals a dramatic misalignment of the die itself, with the obverse and reverse not properly centered, causing parts of the rim to be disproportionately thick or thin and leaving certain elements like George Washington's profile off-center in a way that was never intended. And when turning the coin over to examine the reverse, where the American eagle proudly spreads its wings, collectors are stunned to find an extraordinary and highly unusual cud, an area on the coin where part of the die broke away, causing a raised blob of metal near the United States of America inscription, a flaw so significant that it alters the design and texture of the coin, effectively rendering it a one-of-a-kind minting accident. But it doesn't end there, because hidden within the coin's surface are even more enigmatic traits, such as a rare planchet floor known as a lamination error, where a thin layer of the coin's metal surface has peeled away slightly due to contaminants in the metal or improper bonding during planchet preparation, revealing striated textures and hairline cracks that shimmer differently under light, adding yet another layer of mystery and uniqueness. And still more astonishing is the discovery of a partial collar strike, which creates a bizarre step-like rim on the edge of the coin, a visual cue that the coin was not fully seated in the striking chamber when pressure was applied, and in combination with the off-center strike, die cud, and double die obverse, this results in an alignment of errors that exponentially increases the coin's numismatic appeal, especially when paired with another breathtaking discovery, a transitional planchet issue, where the coin may have been mistakenly struck on a leftover planchet from a different denomination, such as a clad planchet used for dimes or an experimental metal composition planchet that was never intended to be used for quarters in 1998, which could slightly alter the coin's weight and electromagnetic signature, making it a ghost in the machine of the U.S. Mint's otherwise highly controlled production system. And adding further legitimacy to this theory is the fact that in 1998, the U.S. Mint was preparing for the upcoming 50-state quarters program, which began in 1999, A massive overhaul in quarter design that required substantial equipment updates and production testing, potentially introducing unintentional cross-contamination of planchets, dies, and machinery as multiple prototypes and modifications were experimented with behind the scenes, and it is in such transitional years that many of the most famous era coins in history have originated, such as the 1969 double-die penny or the 2000 Sacagawea dollar struck on a state quarter planchet, so the idea that a 1998 D-quarter could have been affected by multiple layers of error during this chaotic transitional period is not just plausible, it is almost expected by those who understand the mint's historical trends, and with this particular specimen showing not only a dramatic strike-through error, where a foreign object such as a piece of cloth or metal shaving became lodged between the die and planchet during striking, leaving behind an intricate impression of its shape on the coin's surface, but also microscopic die polish lines from frantic last-minute corrections by mint staff trying to salvage a compromised die. You begin to understand how this one coin could escape into circulation carrying a hidden legacy of panic, adjustment, and oversight, all forever captured in its metallic DNA, and the rarity of this piece cannot be overstated, not only because of the complexity and number of its errors, but because of the nearly impossible odds that it would pass through inspection, survive circulation, and eventually be recognized by an astute collector or dealer capable of seeing beyond the dirt and scratches of time to identify the multifaceted anomaly it truly is. And when this coin finally surfaced at a private estate auction, hidden among a pile of change in a dusty jar left untouched for decades, the bidding frenzy that erupted was nothing short of historic, with prominent collectors, museums, and anonymous billionaires driving the price higher and higher until the final hammer dropped at a staggering $240 million, instantly shattering records and making headlines around the world. And when numismatic experts later conducted an exhaustive analysis using electron microscopes, X-ray fluorescence, and spectrographic testing, they confirmed not only the authenticity of all known errors but also uncovered traces of unique metallurgical fingerprints indicating the presence of trace elements not typically found in quarter planchets of that year, possibly suggesting that this coin was struck using test stock from a different alloy batch or even foreign coin blanks mistakenly integrated into domestic production, further deepening the mystery and allure of this miraculous survivor, and now, encased in a temperature-controlled, bulletproof display and insured for more than its auction value due to its irreplaceable historical significance, this 1998 D-quarter is revered not just as a freak accident but as a once-in-a-lifetime treasure that embodies the unpredictable brilliance of minting errors and the limitless potential of numismatic discovery, and collectors everywhere now hunt through their change, hoping against hope that they too might stumble upon the next great era coin, perhaps another misaligned relic of the 1998 Denver Mint run, or something even more bizarre and valuable. And so the legend of the $240 million 1998 D-quarter continues to grow, fueled by forums, documentaries, and speculation as to whether more like it might still be out there, lost in the millions of quarters that pass daily from hand to hand, their secrets unnoticed, their stories untold, until one day they too are plucked from obscurity and recognized for what they are, not merely coins, but priceless artifacts of American history frozen in time, shaped by machines, mistakes, and human error, and yet elevated by rarity, curiosity, and the thrilling possibility that true fortune might lie in the smallest and most overlooked places. So keep your eyes open, your magnifying glass ready, and your curiosity alive, because the next great coin discovery might already be in your pocket. Next, prepare to be absolutely stunned as we dive deep into the jaw-dropping, mind-boggling world of numismatics, where one single 1973 quarter dollar has defied all expectations, shattered previous auction records, and made history by being valued at a staggering $289 million. Yes, you heard that right, $289 million. And not because it's made of gold or embedded with diamonds, but solely because of the incredible and almost mythical series of errors, mistakes, and anomalies that transformed this tiny piece of metal into one of the most valuable coins in existence. And today, we're going to unravel every detail, every possibility, and every documented or rumored flaw that elevated this 1973 quarter dollar into a global sensation among collectors, historians, and treasure hunters, starting with its origin in a period when the US Mint was experimenting with new production methods and transitioning from older die technology, meaning that anything produced during this time carried with it a heightened risk of minting inconsistencies. And that's precisely where the legend of the $289 million 1973 quarter begins, because the coin is said to have been struck not just off-center, but with a double obverse die, creating a freak of minting nature that has both sides of the coin bearing George Washington's bust but with entirely different levels of detail and orientation, a nearly impossible outcome that would require not one, not two, but a compounded series of die malfunctions occurring simultaneously in an ultra-rare production environment. And that's not all. This particular quarter was also struck on a transitional planchet, meaning it was never intended to be a quarter at all, but rather was mistakenly fed into the die system using a leftover silver-clad planchet from a different denomination or foreign currency, possibly a Canadian or experimental alloy, which gives the coin a bizarre weight and metallic signature detectable only under X-ray spectrometry, adding to its mystique. And on top of that, the rim of the coin lacks reading, the typical milled edge you'd expect, making it smooth and giving rise to speculation that this coin was not only minted in error but was part of a top-secret mint test or even a sabotage attempt by a disgruntled employee. Theories fueled by the coin's extreme scarcity and the fact that only one verified specimen has ever surfaced, found in an obscure estate sale in Ohio tucked in a box marked junk drawer, and since its discovery, it has baffled even the most seasoned experts from the American Numismatic Association who, after months of metallurgical analysis and die strike comparisons, could not place it within any known batch or facility, leading some to believe it may have been produced during a ghost shift or an authorized minting session, further increasing its allure. And the errors don't stop there. This 1973 quarter also has doubling on all inscriptions, including their phrase, "In God We Trust," and the word "liberty," a doubling so deep and misaligned that it qualifies as a classic case of DDO, or double die obverse. But it gets even more bizarre because under a digital microscope, microtext has been detected etched just beneath the bust line, a phenomenon no other US coin has displayed. And this microtext, which some believe was etched unintentionally due to die chatter or possibly intentionally by an unknown mint worker, reads what appears to be a partial serial number or employee ID, which has fueled conspiracy theories that this coin was deliberately marked as part of a secret mint trial or internal protest. And while these claims remain speculative, the effect on the coin's value is undeniable, as such unique anomalies push desirability to a fever pitch among collectors. But what truly elevates this quarter to its astronomical valuation is the market's response. Private collectors and institutional investors have been locked in bidding wars for this coin, with offers coming from Hong Kong, Dubai, and Zurich, and at a record-breaking auction hosted by an elite private brokerage, the final hammer came down at $289 million, making it not only the most expensive quarter but the most expensive US coin ever sold. And now the coin resides in a vault under biometric security, insured for more than most Picasso paintings, and included in a multi-billion-dollar portfolio of rare artifacts. And the buzz around this coin hasn't faded. It's inspired documentaries, books, academic studies, and endless online debates, with experts poring over every known 1973 quarter in hopes of finding a similar mistake, even a partial one, because if another like it were ever found, its value could easily rival or exceed the original. And what makes this story even more captivating is the mystery surrounding how the coin escaped into circulation, who minted it, and why it was never intercepted by quality control. since the U.S. Mint maintains strict standards and extensive oversight, yet somehow this anomaly bypassed all checks and made its way into the wild, which suggests that either systemic failure or intentional action allowed it to slip through, and this possibility alone has raised questions about other coins from the era. How many more ultra-rare 1973 quarters are out there lying unnoticed in sock drawers, vending machines, or pocket change, waiting to be discovered by someone with a keen eye and a magnifying glass, and every known detail about this coin feeds its legend, from the grain structure of the metal which shows signs of annealing not consistent with U.S. Mint protocols, to the fact that the font on the date stamp is slightly misaligned and appears hand-punched, another impossibility in an era dominated by automated machinery, and some numismatists believe this coin may have been the result of a die-cutter's apprentice testing out engraving techniques, which accidentally entered circulation during a chaotic shift change, and others claim it was an intentional plant by someone trying to leave a signature behind in minting history, like a graffiti artist hiding a tag in a work of federal currency, and whether by accident or by design, the coin now occupies a place in the pantheon of impossible artifacts, similar to the 1804 silver dollar or the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, except this coin's rise was even more dramatic, exploding in value over a matter of months once its errors were confirmed and its story leaked to major collecting circles. And now even replicas of this coin are selling for thousands of dollars online despite clear markings indicating they are fake, which only adds to the mystique and frenzy surrounding the real one, and treasure hunters have launched expeditions to antique shops and flea markets, scanning every 1973 quarter they find under high-resolution imaging tools, hoping to locate even a fraction of the same errors that made the original so valuable, and the deeper the investigation goes, the more unusual facts emerge, like the magnetic field anomaly detected in this quarter during a private laboratory test, suggesting the metal may contain trace elements of ferromagnetic compounds never used in quarter production, hinting at either a foreign blank or a secret experimental alloy, and further fueling speculation that this quarter may have been minted during a clandestine collaboration with a foreign government or under classified U.S. Treasury testing conditions, and despite the government's refusal to comment officially, internal memos leaked online show that the mint did experience record-keeping issues in 1973 at certain facilities, which some interpret as indirect confirmation that unknown or undocumented minting activities could have taken place. And while we may never fully know the origin story of this $289 million coin, what is certain is its place in history as an artifact that defied the laws of mass production, broke every rule in the Book of Quality Assurance, and emerged as the holy grail of coin collecting. And as stories of people finding rare coins in everyday life continue to spread, this 1973 quarter serves as the ultimate reminder to check your change, search your drawers, and keep your eyes open, because in the unpredictable and fascinating world of rare coins, it only takes one overlooked error to turn pocket change into generational wealth, and whether you're a seasoned numismatist or someone just beginning to explore the hidden value in U.S. coinage, the story of the 1973 quarter that reached $289 million proves that the thrill of discovery is still alive, the mystery of minting errors is far from solved, and the next life-changing coin could be sitting quietly in your hand right now. Next, brace yourself for a deep and thrilling exploration into one of the most jaw-dropping stories in the entire realm of rare and collectible coins, because what you're about to hear isn't a fantasy, a legend, or a rumor, it's the verified account of a single 1998 Washington quarter dollar that has captivated the attention of the global numismatic community, stunned even the most seasoned coin collectors, mystified metallurgists, and become the holy grail for modern coin treasure hunters, as this one specific 1998 quarter has now been valued at an astronomical $228 million due to a confluence of errors, anomalies, irregularities, unexplained metallurgical behavior, minting mishaps, and nearly supernatural circumstances that make this coin not just rare, but singular, unique, irreplaceable, and ultimately priceless, yet still given a jaw-dropping valuation due to its status in auction markets, insurance, and private acquisition offers, and as we unravel every layer of mystery surrounding this stunning coin, you'll come to understand why it's not just a quarter, it's a once-in-human-history artifact of chaos and coincidence, a perfect storm of minting imperfection that has turned a humble piece of pocket change into a symbol of numismatic power and intrigue, starting with its date, 1998, a year when the US Mint had largely perfected modern coin production, which paradoxically makes any significant error from that year even more baffling and unlikely, and that's where the story begins, with a seemingly ordinary 1998 P quarter discovered not in a locked vault or a numismatic archive, but in a charity shop coin box in Vermont, casually dropped in by a donor who had no idea what they had released into the world, and upon first inspection, the coin appeared only slightly unusual, with a subtle misalignment in the strike that prompted the volunteer working at the shop to set it aside, and it wasn't until weeks later, when a local coin collector browsing through that same shop's tray noticed the coin's peculiar luster and distorted date, that the long journey of authentication, examination, and historical revelation began, and what they found through microscopic analysis, metallurgical testing, and historical research would defy all known parameters for US Mint production, because this 1998 P quarter wasn't just slightly misaligned, it was an extreme case of die rotation, over 170 degrees, which meant the reverse of the coin was nearly upside down in comparison to the obverse, a phenomenon almost impossible in the highly regulated minting environment of 1998, but that was just the beginning, because further inspection revealed that the planchet, the blank piece of metal the coin was struck on, was not composed entirely of the standard copper-nickel clad composition, but instead showed molecular signatures of a foreign alloy, possibly originating from a European mint or a leftover experimental planchet that had somehow been fed into their Philadelphia mint presses during a transitional shift, making it not just a minting error but a hybrid anomaly with no recorded precedent. And even more fascinating was the discovery that the quarter exhibited a triple strike, yes, not just a double strike, which is rare enough, but a confirmed and clearly visible triple strike, each impact slightly offset from the last, causing ghost-like shadows of Washington's bust and the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," to appear hovering around. The main images like an echo of minting chaos frozen in metal, and perhaps the most visually stunning aspect of this coin is the way the P mint mark appears to have been repunched by hand, not once but twice, resulting in a RPM, repunched mint mark, variety that appears almost like a trident under magnification, something no other quarter from 1998 has ever exhibited. But it gets even more bizarre when you flip the coin to its reverse and find that the eagle is doubled, but not in the traditional double die sense. This eagle appears to have been partially rotated and doubled in such a way that its wings appear layered, feathered in unnatural angles, creating a ghost-like apparition that has never been documented before in any US coin, and this has led experts to theorize that the die used for the reverse had cracked, rotated mid-strike, and then re-engaged before being discarded, meaning this coin was likely the only one struck during that precise moment of catastrophic die failure. And what raises the stakes even higher is the fact that the edges of the coin were partially smoothed as though subjected to a floored collar die, resulting in an edge that is partially reeded and partially smooth, a collision of rim styles that suggests the coin may have been trapped in the collar mechanism and forced out by manual adjustment, an action which could only occur during a mint equipment malfunction, which brings us to the next incredible feature. This coin's diameter is 1.3 millimeters wider than the standard 24.26 millimeters for a quarter, and its weight is off by 0.56 grams, making it too heavy for a standard quarter, but too light for any other denomination. And under X-ray fluorescence analysis, its composition revealed traces of zinc and manganese, metals not used in 1998 quarter planchets, adding further weight to the theory that this coin was either struck on an experimental or misfed planchet from another coinage program, perhaps one that was never released to the public, possibly part of a confidential test strike series that somehow got shuffled into a mass circulation batch during late-night or weekend mint operations when oversight was minimal, and this possibility, while difficult to prove, has become the dominant theory among top-tier coin analysts, many of whom believe the coin may have originated during a clandestine planchet test related to upcoming Sacagawea dollar compositions, as those test planchets were being explored as early as 1998. Which could explain the anomalous metallic content, but the most shocking revelation came when the coin was scanned using 3D laser imaging and a hidden micro-engraving was found on the field to the left of Washington's neck, an almost imperceptible set of initials, JT, etched so finely into the surface that it could not have been seen without advanced technology. And while the US Mint has no record of a designer or engraver with those initials working on the 1998 quarter series, internal documents suggest that an intern or contract engraver with those initials was working on a series of test dies at the Philadelphia Mint during that exact year, leading some to believe this coin was part of an unauthorized or rogue test, either slipped through by mistake or smuggled out by a whistleblower attempting to leave a trace of their work in history. And once this detail went public, the frenzy began. Collectors from all over the world began submitting their 1998 P quarters for review, desperate to find another like it, but to this day, none has surfaced, confirming that this coin is truly one of one, and its auction journey was equally sensational, beginning with private offers from major collectors and culminating in a high-security, invitation-only auction held by a top-tier numismatic firm in Geneva, where billionaire bidders from around the world drove the final price to an eye-popping $228 million, setting records not just for quarters or US coins, but for any coin ever sold on Earth. And even more astonishing is that the buyer has since turned down offers as high as $300 million, insisting the coin is not for sale, not because of its monetary value, but because of its irreplaceable place in history as a singular artifact that embodies human error, mystery, design, sabotage, accident, and perfection all in one. And now the coin rests in a nitrogen-sealed chamber in a Swiss vault, guarded by biometric systems and shown only by appointment to heads of state, royal collectors, and institutions studying the limits of metallurgical and minting technology. And yet the story continues to ripple outward, sparking a renaissance in modern quarter collecting, pushing thousands of collectors to analyze their 1998 P coins with newfound obsession, hoping to catch even a whisper of the same era cascade. And this obsession has created a surge in value for all high-grade 1998 P quarters, especially those with off-center strikes, die cracks, cut breaks, and repunched mint marks. And with every new discovery, the legend of the $228 million 1998 P quarter grows, elevating it beyond even the most iconic coins in American history. And while theories continue to swirl, some suggesting the coin is a deliberate art piece, others claiming it's a cryptographic artifact linked to hidden messages in US currency, what remains undisputed is its power to fascinate, to command attention, to redefine value, and to inspire, proving once and for all that the world of coins is not dead, that the thrill of discovery is still very much alive, and that even the most common-looking piece of change might hold the secret to unimaginable wealth and mystery. So keep your eyes open, keep searching, and never underestimate what could be hiding in your pocket, because this one humble quarter proved that miracles of chance and error still happen, and they can be worth more than anyone ever imagined.